why people end up adopting meanings, for example, in religion. You adopt a meaning in religion. You can argue if religion is puerile or whatever, but definitely people who believe, people who have faith, they have a sense of meaning. So sometimes meaning requires delusion or fantasy, and that is exactly the narcissist's weapon. The narcissist weaponizes fantasy. He gives you the impression that the fantasy will give you meaning. Because we use fantasy, healthy people, normal people, we use narratives, we use stories, we use fantasies to create meaning. So the narcissist comes to you and says, here's a fantasy, here's a narrative, use this to create meaning and forget all the other meanings, and your ability to create meaning outside the shared fantasy is eradicated. We'll talk about this tomorrow. This is the shared fantasy, which is mind-boggling. Number 5, you gain no credit with people. Remember, these are the sentences that the narcissist kind of poisons your mind with. He destroys, you see why you cannot use he destroys your internal assumptions about the world. He destroys everything you've believed about the world, about yourself in the world, your place in the world, other people. He destroys all this. So one of the things he convinces you is that you gain no credit with people. When you behave well, it's meaningless. It means nothing. You're a sucker. You're a patsy. Even when you do behave well, this credit is forgotten and ignored. People hate to feel indebted. If you help people, they hate you. If you give gifts to people, they hate you. Because they hate to be the recipients. And so on and so forth. He convinces you of that. Number 6, reality, he says to you, is not a shared experience. It's not a shared experience. Each person is to his own or her. Each one of us is on her own or on his own. We are all solipsistic. We're all floating in space, totally isolated. The narcissist destroys what we call the intersubjective space. The intersubjective space is the imaginary space or metaphorical space where the minds meet, minds of people meet. When I'm talking to you, between us, there is an imaginary intersubjective space. I'm talking to you, your brain absorbs what I'm saying. Hopefully, to some extent, I'm able to convey the same meanings and so on. So what the narcissist does, he destroys the intersubjective space by isolating you physically. He isolates you from your friends, from your family, from your social network. He isolates, but then he begins to isolate you psychologically. By isolating you, destroying the intersubjective space, he then gains control over you. You're enfeebled, you're weakened, you're vulnerable, you're susceptible, and he takes over you. Because now there is no bridge left. He burns the intersubjective bridge, and you're all alone. Most existentially alone that you have ever felt in your life. And what do you do when you're existentially alone and there's someone next to you? You reach out, you lurch, you cling, because there's nothing more terrifying than being truly, totally, utterly, cosmically, existentially alone. So the narcissist is there and he becomes your life raft. It's like a Titanic, Titanic has sunk, he becomes your life raft. Okay. Number 7, he tells you being alone is often way better and safer than being together with other people except me. So he says, don't be with other people, it's not safe, it's not good also, it's a bad experience. You can be with me, but otherwise isolate yourself, because being alone is preferable to this. They're great philosophers of loneliness. Narcissism as a philosophy is the philosophy of solipsism. It's a philosophy of loneliness. The narcissist says, I am the only subject in the world. The only subjective experience is mine. I'm the only mind. There's no other mind. I'm the only mind. Everyone around me it becomes converted into elements in my mind, into an internal object, into a figment. I'm going to snapshot you. I'm going to take a snapshot of you. And the snapshot is a reality. So it is my mind that includes everything. Now, just to take a break. In psychosis, we have a clinical feature of psychosis known as hyperreflexivity. Hyperreflexivity is when the mind of the psychotic expands outward, like a supernova, expands outward and consumes the world. That's why the psychotic cannot tell the difference between internal objects and external objects. The psychotic, the person with psychotic disorder, the person with psychosis, like schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is one type of psychotic disorder, there are others. So, this kind of person, he has a voice in his mind. There's a voice in his mind. The psychotic believes that the voice is coming from there. So he confuses an internal object, the voice, with an external object. He has an image in his mind. It's an image of a wrathful, terrifying God. He thinks the God is there, about to kill him and consume him. And he insists that it's there. There's a confusion between internal and external. Same happens in narcissism. In psychosis, hyperreflexivity is the confusion of internal objects with external objects. In narcissism, it's the confusion of external objects with internal objects. Whereas a psychotic would say, this image is not in my mind, it's there. The narcissist would say, this image is not there, it's in my mind. It's a mirror image of classical psychosis. So he tries to convince you to believe the same. He tells you, you should be alone, you should be lonely because I'm the only real thing. I'm the only real thing. If you want to stick to reality, stick with me. The next sentence is, no one deserves love, no one deserves love, and few, if any, are lovable. He takes away your lovability. He convinces you actually that he's the only one capable of loving you, that you're in principle not lovable. What he does, he creates in you what we call internalized bad object. Again, because he has an internalized bad object. Remember, the narcissist uses you to reflect himself, to experience himself. Narcissist experiences himself, his absent self, through you. I'm going to repeat this sentence because I like the sound of my voice. Narcissists experience their absent self through you. Every dynamic inside the narcissist is thrown, projected onto you, and you own it. And this process is known as projective identification. So, one of these dynamics is lovability. The narcissist has an internalized bad object. It's a group of voices, a cluster of introjects of voices, and the voices say, you are ugly, you are stupid, you're unworthy, you can never be loved, you're not lovable. This is the internalized bad object of the narcissist. And he wants you to experience this internal bad object. He wants to experience himself through you. So he gives you this bad object. He hands over his toxicity. Remember how I started? He hands over the toxicity. He hands you this bad object, and you begin to believe that you are not lovable. We are talking now not in the love bombing phase. We're talking about the shared fantasy after the love bombing. Love bombing is like baiting you. Love bombing is to bait you. Once you're inducted into the shared fantasy, the day-to-day life, the grind of the shared fantasy, at that point, leading to devaluation, the narcissist infects you, contaminates you with a bad internalized object. By the way, the clinical term in the 30s, Strachey, was not bad internalized object. It was, amazingly, primitive superego. It's interesting. It's another topic for another lecture. Okay. 9. You cannot trust yourself. You cannot trust your judgment. You cannot trust your reality testing. And you cannot trust your self-love. This is gaslighting. But the narcissist doesn't do it intentionally. He doesn't say, okay, stage 9. I'm stage 9. Today I am going to gaslight her. It emanates. It's an emanation. You know? It's like an apparition. It's like miasma. It comes out. The narcissist exudes narcissism. The narcissist does not impose narcissism. The narcissist does not leverage narcissism. The narcissism doesn't weaponize narcissism. That is a psychopath. Psychopaths do this. The narcissist exudes narcissism. It's like ambient, atmospheric. And you're captured in this miasma. You're breathing the toxic gases. That's more or less the experience. And finally, if I find the page, finally, then remember these are sentences that the narcissist inculcates in you. Narcissist embeds these sentences in you. Tomorrow we'll go deeper. Number 10, there's always a way to commit wrong and evil deeds because such actions are goal-oriented. Regret, remorse, guilt, shame, empathy, and conscience are contemptible weaknesses and vulnerabilities. This particular indoctrination, this particular element of brainwashing is more typical of what we call malignant narcissists. Malignant narcissist is a narcissist who is also a psychopath and also a sadist. So he is diagnosed, a clinical narcissist, clinical psychopath. Not like dark personality. It's not a dark personality. Because we have a dark tetrad. Dark tetrad personality is subclinical narcissist, subclinical psychopath, sadist, and Machiavellian. I'm not talking about this. A malignant narcissist, first described by Otto Kernberg, is a narcissist who is clinically a psychopath, is also clinically a sadist. And this kind of narcissist is likely to use this last sentence that I mentioned. I apologize, but each lecture would be 3 hours. You know that? Oh, okay. I'm going now to mention 6 pitfalls, 6 errors, 6 mistakes that victims make. And then I'm going to read to you a section from the DSM, and I'm going to say goodbye. Okay? Here are the mistakes. Number 1, victims engage in what we call a morality play. In the Middle Ages, there was a type of theater that was called the morality play.